I'm wearing sunglasses to cover how crazy I look.
You don't look that crazy. Just look like Bumblebee stung you on the face.
I look insane.
Your bulgy eyeballs.
You've tuned in to Tea with Tina, where I serve you all things talks, travel, and TV. If you're new here, please join my special brew by clicking on that subscribe button below. And if you are a returning T-Bag, hi honey, please continue to show me your love and support when you like, comment, and share. Today, T is for talks, and as you can see from my title, I will be discussing my experience with healthcare abroad and my recent fibroid removal surgery here in Hanoi, Vietnam. Whew, what a mouthful! Who don't know me, my name is Tina and I'm a South African who's been living and working here in Hanoi, Vietnam since December of 2016. Now I feel like it goes without saying that at some point in time I would face the healthcare system, and I did. And surprisingly, outside of a couple of weird situations and some frustratingly hysterical circumstances that I've been in because of the language barrier, I've had a really good experience. So a recent trip to the doctor revealed that I had massive fibroids that needed to be removed immediately. And in that moment, the only doubt I had was about the finances, because I knew that I could trust the healthcare system. Now, before we get into my fibroid removal surgery, I want to give you guys kind of a background of my treatments and procedures prior to this situation, so that you guys can get a feel and maybe gain a bit of clarity, a little bit extra information that will just give you an idea of why I was so confident going into my surgery.
To legally work as a teacher in Vietnam, employees are subject to health checks, the cost of which is usually covered by the employer. I've had 2 health checks since living here, and both were relatively easy and quick. I am obsessed with my smile. So when I found out how reasonable cosmetic surgery is here in Asia, I decided to get veneers. When I got to the doctor, he suggested I get a gingiviectomy so that I could improve my smile overall. I ended up not getting the veneers because I really loved the results of the gingiviectomy. I was George of the jungle. I attempted a few flips on the trampoline, which resulted in the damage of my right shoulder blade. I went in for physiotherapy, and my physiotherapist spoke phenomenal English, and within 4 weeks I could really feel the difference. Of course, the other medical issues that I'd have to face on a daily basis. One of the most common issues amongst foreigners is getting into motorbike accidents, which results in cuts, bruises, and sometimes in more severe situations, hospitalization. I personally never had to be hospitalized for a motorbike accident. Most of my situations have just been a couple of scrapes and bruises.
Now, I'm sure there are a lot of you still wondering, but what are fibroids, Tina? Good question.
Fibroids are defined as abnormal growths that develop in a woman's uterus. In severe cases, they can become quite large and cause acute abdominal pain. In other cases, they cause no signs or symptoms. About 80% of women will have them before the age of 50. There is no known cause for why fibroids occur, but there are women who are far more at risk. In my case, my family history, my ethnic origin, and my current weight were contributors to my condition. Treatment may help reduce the size and the pain caused by fibroids, but in more severe cases, fibroids may need to be removed via surgery. The type of fibroids you have may dictate what kind of treatment or surgery you'll undergo. Surgery to remove fibroids is called a myomectomy.
So to really give you a full picture of my experience, I have to take it all the way back to 2019. A good year. Really a much better year than this year. I went to the USA last year in the end of July to visit my partner at that time. Now, out of nowhere, I had the worst period pains and the heaviest flow. Now, if I'm being honest, I'm not a stranger to a heavy flow or painful period pains because I did get an IUD inserted the year before that in 2018. So when the first few signs showed up, I thought, nah, it's just the IUD. And it wasn't until after my period that I actually suspected that something could have been wrong with my fibroids. But even then, I didn't take it seriously because in my head, I thought to myself, hey, we're not getting sick in the USA. We don't have the coin to be sick in the USA. It is no joke when they tell you how expensive the healthcare is there, and if it meant that I could avoid it by all means necessary, I would. And that led me to taking ibuprofens, which I don't take a lot of medication unless the situation is bad or I've gone to the doctor and have had it like prescribed to me, because I'm always very wary of medication and kind of the ailments that come with it, because I've lived in a family of people who relied on medication a lot. So I take the ibuprofen and
Look. Oh, I am getting poofy in the face as well.
Bears of Notre
yeah, I found out that at my old age you can develop allergies. Now, I already knew this, but I kind of thought it would never happen to me, because I was like, at my old age, develop an allergy? Never. And I did. Not one. No. Two. My first one was to the lovely ibuprofens, and the second one was to shellfish. Fast forward to February 2020, and I have my period. But this time something doesn't feel great, man. Something is off.
I never.
So I had to get myself to a doctor, and I was surprisingly extremely calm throughout the situation. What was funny to see was everyone else panicking, the Vietnamese doctors and medical assistants kind of panicking and looking at me like, you don't see a problem with this? And I was like, I don't even know what this is, and I don't really understand the severity. You guys just keep having these shocked faces and expect me to know what's going on. And yeah, it was really hysterical. But when I really found out about the situation, I remember kind of breaking down into tears. And I think not because I was concerned about the surgery. Like I told you, I've had a fantastic experience, so I'm not concerned about that. I was worried about money, because your girl had not been working. I was in a medical center called Medletech. If you are South African, you can kind of equate it to the Medicross hospital. They couldn't help me with anything regarding the surgery. So I was referred to two hospitals. The first one, my first option being the public hospital, one of Hanoi's biggest hospitals, called the 𝙷𝙴𝙰𝙁 Hospital, and the other one was the popular one known amongst foreigners, known and used amongst foreigners, which is the very expensive Hanoi French Hospital. This was too intricate of a situation for me to not have an English-speaking doctor to explain things to me and work with me through the procedure without the stress of a language barrier. So I eventually get an appointment with
Dr. Armando, the OB/GYN specialist.
Respect!
So my doctor came up with a fantastic 3-month plan that would allow me to acquire medical insurance from my job and still get the treatment that I need to make the fibroids smaller up until the time that I could afford to do the surgery. But that didn't happen because of my allergy to ibuprofen. Nothing was strong enough. I was given effervescent codeine pills, which didn't help in the slightest. And I was back in hospital within 12 hours.
Welcome to the Hanoi French Hospital. This is where I had my surgery and stayed for 3 nights. Surgery went swimmingly, and the doctors were able to remove 3 fibroids, one of them being the size of a baby's head. The Hanoi French Hospital is fantastic. The facilities were top-notch, the staff were well-trained, and the best part is that there was an absence of that horrible generic hospital smell. My entire stay, including the surgery, aftercare product, and my prescription cost me just under $5,500. After returning from the hospital, I had to clean my stitches as well as inject myself for 15 days. The injection was to prevent deep vein thrombosis, which is a fancy way of saying blood clots. With my IUD removed, my period now only lasts a much appreciated 3 days versus the 7-day period I used to endure. I do have scarring from when the doctors made an incision, but it's actually not that bad. If you've had a C-section, it is exactly the same kind of scar. It takes about 6 weeks for you to fully heal and resume any strenuous physical activities. It's been nearly 2 months since my surgery and I feel absolutely fantastic. With COVID-19 being at the forefront of our medical issues, it has really emphasized how healthcare plays an integral part in our lives. As travelers and expats, we should remember to include insurance when planning trips. Anything could happen anywhere, and having that security could give you peace of mind. I'd like to give a special thanks to all the healthcare professionals for their unwavering service. And to you, all my viewers, I wish you all good health during these uncertain times.
TBags! That's all from me today, and I'll check you on the next video. Stay piping hot.